Hi, this is David Davis at PhysFarm Training Systems, and what I'd like to talk about today are the planning tools that are unique to RaceDay Apollo that have been developed in conjunction with British Triathlon and in fact have formed part of their athlete and coach management tools preparing for the London Olympics and moving forwards to Rio de Janeiro. So what you can see here is our calendar page. That is the first thing that you see when you open RaceDay Apollo. We've selected an athlete on the left hand side, so Joshua, and we can click on the planning tools. What you can now see here is a variety of options along the top, such as long-term goals, short-term goals, performance goals, events, periodization and interventions. And each of these I'll talk through. So first of all, let's just take a look at some tactical and technical aspects. As you can see, there are a variety of other options including nutritional, physiological, strength and conditioning, physio or medical, and psychological. So first of all, let's take a look at sighting as a long-term goal of improvement for Joshua. So we've selected sighting under the swimming list on the left-hand side, and the focus is clearly swimming in a straight line. As a coach, the way that we'll measure that is video analysis, and down the bottom now we can see that we can prioritize that as relatively important, so we give it a B, and it's something that should always be maintained, so we're going to tick it as a maintenance. So now we can move down perhaps to cycling and aerodynamics, and here we want to focus on an improved position on the bike, perhaps getting used to riding on the drops. Once again, as a coach, we may choose to assess this via video analysis and observation, and perhaps at a later stage, time in a wind tunnel, if that athlete's so lucky. Now here, we prioritize that as important and something that's to be emphasized all the time. As you can see, there's plenty more options under running. And then if we move to the nutritional tab, we can see there are aspects relating to training and racing. But as an example, let's put some notes in for travel nutrition. And just put some simple notes in, such as always making sure you're carrying sufficient water. In this instance, perhaps measuring it is not applicable, and it's not a particularly high priority, but something that should be maintained. Under the physiological tab, you can see a variety of sports science terminology that you might wish to assess as a coach. And under strength and conditioning, again, a variety of aspects that you may consider important, such as coordination or reactive strength. And then finally, under physio, medical and psychological, additional aspects that you can make notes on as a coach. What you can then do is, using the file menu, is you can print this out, and RaceDay will generate an image that you can then save as a PDF that you can then discuss with the athlete. So we can close that. So moving on to short-term goals, you can see that the aspects that we filled out in the long-term goals have now carried over into the short-term goals. and we can add more detail to them, such as, for example, principal support needed and the months that that's going to be spent concentrating on. Under the performance goals, we can then see that we can put in some benchmark information for this athlete about where they are now and when they're looking to achieve things by, such as personal bests in a 400 swimming or 20-minute maximal power. And then moving on, we have the ability to add events that this athlete will be taking part in over the coming years. So as an example, add an event for this year that they're going to take part in that's on the 1st of December. It's not a particularly important event, it's a local cross-country event that we want them to do. And we know it's 5 miles long. And as an outcome, we want them to be competitive, but the purpose is very definitely training. And there isn't really any need to have any tracking in relation to this goal, because quite simply, it's training, and so we'd put here, not applicable. What you can also see is the ability to add periodization, and this might be areas where you wish to concentrate on certain aspects of the swimming or the cycling or the running. So as an example, with Joshua, what we want him to do is, in October, is concentrate on actually his endurance and long slow distance work. So we're going to name that endurance as a macro cycle, and as a goal, it's increased yardage in the swimming pool. Obviously, you can be more specific as a coach, but this gives you an idea of what you can actually add from a periodization point of view, so that when you go back to the calendar, you can now see that when we have the periodization shown at the bottom, you can hide it, but also have it visible, that Joshua can see that as a coach, in October, what you're going to have him working on is endurance in the pool. Finally, the last thing is that over particular date periods, you can actually add interventions. So referring back to the swimming long-term goal that we planned on citing, we might choose a new intervention of open water sighting training, and we know that open water swimming is going to take place in February as a starting point. So in the month of February, it's something that we're specifically going to focus on. And you may add further notes that Joshua can then refer to. So these are the planning tools that we've created and made available for coaches and athletes to use in order to help them plan and document and refer back to the strategies and interventions and planning and periodization that allows them to work towards specific goals. Thanks.